All Things Black with Garland and Calvin present Fanboys. Fanboys is a weekly breakdown of the sports world from a fan's perspective. Now, here are your hosts, Garland and Calvin.
All Things Black presents Fanboys.
Super Bowl Sunday, yeah!
I'm Calvin. That guy right there is Garland.
Super Bowl Sunday!
And we're here for a Super Bowl Sunday. We are live on Facebook. I'm sorry, we are live on YouTube. I don't even know if the Facebook feed is live right now. But we are live on YouTube, and you can catch us on all the podcast platforms. If you do subscribe to Spotify, you'll be able to get to see our pretty mugs. So, hopefully y'all can see. I don't even know if y'all can see everything.
Freshly lined up.
Anyway, so what's going on, Garland?
If there is a city that could care less about today's game, it is Baltimore, Maryland. I just heard the murmuring of people. I ain't even watching that. I'm tired of that crap. People is still a little raw here, y'all. Still a little raw here. So if they do the overnight ratings of the Baltimore, Washington area for the ratings, might be a little dip in the ratings today because it might be a whole bunch of people for a Super Bowl. I heard a whole bunch of people I'm just waiting for for the halftime. Might be a whole bunch of people for halftime.
I was about to say that
bunch of people waiting for halftime.
Halftime is going to get the numbers, because that's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for the Usher concert.
Yeah, but after that, it's going to be like, how you feeling, Calvin?
I'm good, man. Just like everybody else, I'm not really excited about the Super Bowl. Still a little bit salty over here in Baltimore. It's crazy. They asked Lamar Jackson if he was going to watch. He was just like, nah, I ain't watching. He was like, I ain't watching that shit. He said the same thing. I'm still a little bitter. I'm not watching that shit. But then I'm looking at Lamar like it's your fault. You contributed to this.
You bitter.
Exactly. Like, you mad. How you think we feel? Like, it would be different if we thought you gave your all. You played your best. And, sir, you didn't run through some of them lanes that was open. You threw the interception. You know what? Let me chill on Lamar.
He didn't come back, y'all.
Let me chill on Lamar.
He went back.
That was last week's podcast. Let me chill on Lamar. But, sir, come on now.
Let it go. Let it go.
Hey, man, what we talking about today?
Let's jump into it, man. It's a little Super Bowl preview. We're going to talk some NFL. Definitely some things been going on in the league. We got a little All Things Black Fanboys Super Bowl prop picks that we're going to run through. I got about 5 picks me and you going to choose through. And we're going to talk a little bit about college sports. Something happened very interesting last week that kind of is really kind of like saying that college sports is heading in a direction of paying the players and the players being employees of the universities. And so let's go ahead and just jump off in the NFL. Lamar, he won his second MVP. Congratulations to Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who made history by winning the Associated Press's NFL MVP award for the second time. At the age of 27, Jackson is the youngest two-time MVP since the merger, being out KC Chiefs quarterback Pat Mahomes by just over 9 months. Jackson was the landslide winner, receiving 49 of 50 first-place votes to fall one shy of another unanimous selection. For the 2019 season, Jackson joined Tom Brady as the only player to get all 50 first-place votes for MVP. And so the other first place vote for MVP went to Buffalo Bills quarterback Josh Allen, who finished 5th in the voting. I saw the guy who gave that vote to Josh Allen, and he's a nerd here talking about DVOA and PPF and all this other crap. Obviously, he didn't watch any games. He just looked at equations. And so, Calvin, what are your thoughts on Lamar and the MVP?
First of all, his name is Aaron Schatz. Fuck you, Aaron Schatz. Because not only did you not vote number 1 for Lamar, you made him number 3. Son. You made him number 3, yo. Number three. And And if you listen to his explanation with the DVOA and the PFF and all, according to his own metrics, he should have voted for Dak Prescott.
Right. He said that
according
Dak,
to your own metrics,
that Dak was ahead of him in all of these things.
Fuck you, Aaron Schatz. But congratulations to Lamar. And like most people are saying, most people with level heads are saying it don't matter. He got 2 MVPs. That's all that really matters. First player in history. What I do?
Calvin, Calvin upset y'all.
Yo, if y'all were on before,
it's been a hard 2 weeks.
I've been. Today is just a culmination of a whole lot of shit.
It's just been a hard 2 weeks.
Luckily, y'all weren't at the laundromat with me earlier today because I was cussing folks out there.
Y'all thought I was joking about Baltimore still going through.
I know me personally. I ain't having that shit. Hey, but no. Lamar is the first player to actually win 2 MVPs and a Heisman Trophy. So he's still out here setting records. And congratulations to him. That whole wanting 2 unanimous, that's a us thing. We wanted that for him. Sure. But I mean, if you got 2 MVPs and you're only down 1 vote in the 2 MVP, that's still amazing. So congratulations to Lamar.
I mean,
of course, we want that ring that they should be playing for today, but we'll take these MVPs if that's what we have to take for now. We want it both, though.
When they're going to be talking about this in 10 years, they're not going to be talking about who gave who the 5th place vote.
I will. Once again, fuck you, Aaron Schatz. Then he had the nerve to tweet out, Baltimore people ain't thanking me for voting Mike McDonald as the best assistant coach, special teams or position, whatever he called. Because he ain't even with us no more. He was Seattle. Your vote got him the fucking head coach of the Seahawks. Fuck you, Aaron Schatz. Fuck or Schatz. Or your name should be Shits. Fuck you, Aaron Shits. You ain't shit. Aaron Shits. All right, I'm done.
I feel that YouTube standards will be sending us an email real soon.
I'm done. I always check when I put it up. I always check off explicit content, so they know.
There should be. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So San Francisco star running back Christian McCaffrey, he won offensive player of the year. Houston Texans rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud, he took home offensive rookie of the year honors. Browns defensive end Myles Garrett won the defensive player of the year award. Texas defensive end Will Anderson Jr. won defensive rookie of the year. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski was voted coach of the year for the 2nd time in his career. And our boy Joe Flacco won comeback player of the year for the Browns. And so anyone get snubbed in these other awards?
Absolutely. All right, so let's start with Kevin Stefanski.
Yes,
Stefanski. I don't even know. Stefanski. It don't even matter because that's D'Amico Ryans award.
Yes, D'Amico Ryans deserved that award.
I guess because they gave the 2 rookie of the years to Texans, they didn't want to give him a 3rd. Yeah. But then you should have taken Will Anderson's away. You couldn't say taking C.J. Stroud's away. You should have taken Will Anderson's away. And then, but D'Amico Ryans is absolutely the coach of the year. I don't even understand how that works. And then there's one more.
What?
Damar Hamlin literally died on the field.
He wasn't no comeback player of the year. He just came back to life. He didn't do anything else.
Listen. I even put up the definition, and it literally says players that come back from tragedy or such and such to play even 1 snap. He played in 5 games. He died on the field. Bro. Anyone that didn't vote for him, like I said on Facebook, you clearly don't believe in Easter because you don't know anything about resurrection.
Back from the dead.
He died. He died. It would be
his last worst play. His last worst play was that fake punt. That he couldn't even get a first down on.
It don't matter. But he was on the field for it. He was on. Listen, it would be different had he died like choking on an olive or something from a martini, and then he showed up to the game. He died on the field. Most of the time, like Joe Flacco was when he was with the Jets, he was dead on the field. When he was with the Broncos, he was dead on the field. So I understand if you think he came back from that, but this man literally flatlined on the field. Like they had to cancel the game, and people were holding up signs. People on other teams were wearing Damar Hamlin jerseys because once again he died on the field. How do you not win comeback player of the year?
Joe Flacco was sitting home with his 20 kids in his mansion, and they called him and asked him to come back, and he led that team to the playoffs. Damar Hamlin was barely playing, and then when they put him in for this jive fake punt. They ran a play that you run for the retarded kids who play. For the slow learning kids who play football, and they'd be like, "Don't tackle him, just let him run." And that's what they did with Damar Hamlin.
First of all, hey Tiffany, because Tiffany said hi to us on Facebook.
Hey, Tiffany.
But it don't matter. He played. Listen.
No count.
Listen.
Damar Hamlin.
Okay. This is what I'm gonna tell y'all. This is what I'm gonna say right now. For me, you know, that anybody listening, anybody watching, if I ever die while I'm doing this podcast and I come back and they ask for, and Garland tries to give comeback podcast of the year and he don't give it to me, this shit is over. And and another thing, if you watch Raising Kanan, spoiler alert, I'm gonna give you 3 seconds to get off of here. Spoiler alert if you watch Raising Kanan. One, two, three.
Because we know
when he came back, when Unique came back from the dead at the end of the episode, tell me y'all weren't like, "Oh my God, Unique is back." But Damar Hamlin come back from the dead, y'all like, that's cool. Joe Flacco is the comeback player again. Yo, y'all ain't shit, yo.
But Unique was wearing Dapper Dan and all that stuff. He had all them quotes. That's why we was happy that Neek came back. Damar Hamlin did absolutely nothing. As a matter of fact, it's funny because I'm gonna get to you. I didn't know if you compared Damar Hamlin to Jesus. Damar Hamlin,
well, I mean, y'all don't believe in Easter. It's just he ain't Jesus, but it's just the principle of the thing. Like, God damn,
Alvin, this man, he wasn't doing nothing before he flatlined on the field. He ain't do nothing since he came back, and after he flatlined on the field, and they brought him back.
He came back. I don't understand. He came back, y'all.
This is not participation awards. Just because he showed up and he made the roster, don't mean that he deserved that award.
Actually, if you read the definition, it is a participation trophy. It says again, coming back from tragedy. You don't get no more tragedy than dying, yo.
If Joe Flacco ain't Joe Flacco, he could have took that team maybe a little bit deeper to the playoffs.
They already gave Kevin Stefanski the Coach of the Year award. Whatever the fuck his name is, Joe Flacco don't need no award.
Joe Flacco finally won an award outside of Super Bowl MVP.
Even Joe Flacco said all I was doing was sitting on the couch. He know he ain't come back from nowhere. All Joe did was showed up. Damar Hamlin came back from
Joe was rusty. He was sitting. He came back and he took the reins of that team to where the city don't even want to see Deshaun Watson. They want to see Joe Flacco. All right.
You Ravens fans, y'all got this love-hate relationship with Joe. So now this motherfucker elite because he comeback player of the year for another motherfucking team. Not for the Ravens, because after he won the Super Bowl for the Ravens, he ain't come back and do shit after that.
The greatest
Joe Flacco's reward for being a Raven was being replaced by Lamar Jackson. That was his award.
The
You know,
greatest quarterback in Raven history, Joe Flacco.
I mean,
Congratulations, Joe
well, he
Flacco.
was until Lamar won the MVP. Again, another thing Lamar took from Joe is now Lamar's the greatest quarterback in Ravens history. Lamar, you got my vote, yo. Nigga died, yo.
Obviously, he didn't have enough.
The nigga died, yo.
Dying is not enough.
And that's some bullshit right there. Roquan Smith out there be yelling, I will give my life for this shit. Don't do it, Roquan, because you ain't gonna win nothing if you do. If you die on the field, ain't no need to come back. Ain't nobody gonna give a fuck.
The show's gone off the rails, everyone. Baltimore is still upset about this game. I think this cut harder than the first one. Anyway, let's try to move on.
All right.
Roger Goddell, he gets exposed again. They moved the commissioner's annual Super Bowl press conference to Monday, when the press attendance is at its lowest, and made the event invite only in what many felt was an attempt by Goddell to avoid answering tough questions, especially those about race that were asked by Jim Trotter, who's suing the NFL, at last year's news conference. Well, guess what? It didn't work. And so Darren Smith of KLKC Radio said, I got you, homie. He asked Goddell, as of this press conference, the NFL media newsroom still employs 0 black managers, 0 black copy editors, 0 full-time black employees on the news desk, and your only full-time black employee, Larry Campbell, he passed away over the weekend. How does knowing this sit well with you? And after 2 years of being asked this question, why has there not been any change or hirings in that area? Of course, Goddell, he had a political answer, but how long should we let the NFL continue to get away with this, Calvin?
Well, God rest Larry Campbell's soul, because if he comes back to life, they still not going to let him in. So he ain't going to get
the only black person that
he ain't going to get in. I'm just saying, we clearly see that the NFL don't give a fuck about death. But anyway, let's throw that to the side. You know what they going to say. You know what they going to say.
It's got off the rails, y'all.
All they going to talk about is, well, we gave y'all some black coaches. Y'all got some black executives.
We gave Jay-Z the halftime show.
Exactly. Now y'all want black reporters. Yes, we want black reporters, because the one thing about covering sports, you definitely need those counterbalances.
Yes.
No matter how you look at it, I always appreciate when someone asks the tough questions, because you can always throw them softballs there. You know, a lot of times we look, and it mostly happens in the NBA. A lot of times you'll look at them locker room interviews and you'll be like, well, why did he ask that question? But you actually want him to ask that question. You don't even have to like the guy, because a lot of them we don't really care for, right. But you want those questions to be answered, because these lobs that they keep throwing them, only person that does good are the fans of that team. You know, so you need someone to ask Jerry Jones tough questions. You need someone to ask Robert Kraft tough questions. Yes. You know, these are guys that are just haven't been really good human beings. The new owner of the Panthers, you need somebody to ask him tough questions. You need someone to ask Goddell tough questions. And a lot of times you will not get that unless you cross belief, political, and racial lines. So you need some black reporters in there, because we still have a problem with coaching. We still have a problem with ownership. We still have a problem with black executives. So yeah, you need that in there. So your question is, how long do we let that last? We don't know, because it's going to last forever. The one thing is that the NFL is still ran by the owners. Goodell is run by the owners. So
of course,
it's always going to be tough it's always going to be tough to get in there the type of people that we're looking for, our skin color.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's the dumbing down of news reporting anyway, and not having a diverse voices on the staff. Definitely, it puts the news in one light. That's why we're getting articles about people going in the barbershop asking for a Travis Kelce.
Exactly.
And so,
Exactly.
if we're having balanced news staffs of people who look different and have different experiences, then somebody should be able to say, don't write that because black people have been wearing fades for years. And so we'll see what happens. I thought Jay-Z would have more impact, and not to beat up on Jay. I'm going to beat up on Jay later, but not to beat up on Jay. But this was supposed to be the influence of Rock Nation. Not Rock Nation was supposed to have this big influence on the league, and all I really saw is this Rock Nation. They put on great halftime shows. They get the gas. They work well with Apple Music. They tell people stop kneeling whenever they need to pull out some black people for something. They pull out Jay and everybody else, but it's not leading to any diversity within the news corps. And so hopefully we'll see that change. And not that it all rests on Jay. So leave me alone, Jay people. But he's supposed to have this influence on it. That's why they quote unquote brought him in. Hey man, let's talk about the thing that we really don't want to talk about. Super Bowl 58. And so this defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, they're making their fourth Super Bowl appearance in the Mahomes-Reed era. The Chiefs made it the hard way as a wild card team, winning 2 on the road in Buffalo and in Baltimore. The 49ers were the preseason favorite to win the NFC, and they lived up to that by having the best record in the conference and holding home field advantage despite having to come from behind to beat the Packers and Lions. And so let's talk about some keys real quickly. What are the keys to the game for the Chiefs? What do they need to do to win the Super Bowl?
They got Taylor Swift, so all they needed to do is just show up. I don't give a fuck. They just needed to be there to win because they got Taylor Swift on their team.
That's good. I would say that too. I think definitely the key for them to win the game, man, is to they got to control these explosive plays that the 49ers have. Keep Brandon Ayuk and Debo Samuels and Kittle kind of under wraps. Of course, Christian McCaffrey. I know that sounds obvious, but San Francisco, they get the explosive plays. They get the chunk plays, and so really bringing down those receivers once they catch the ball, not letting them get a whole bunch of yak. I think if they can control that, maybe do something. I think hopefully the 49ers will not do what the Ravens did and ignore the run. I hope they're not going to come out and try to be pass heavy in their game plan. I'm expecting to see a lot of Christian McCaffrey and probably the backup as well, Mitchell, running the ball in this game. And so we'll see how it benefits them. What do you think about the Niners? What are the key to the game for the Niners?
They should call Joe Montana and Jerry Rice because I don't see them beating Taylor Swift tonight. Yo, I don't care.
I don't care about this game, yo. He already told me he don't care, but we got to go through it. We're a legitimate sports show, so we got to act like we at least care about it a little bit, Calvin. And so I'll say this. While Calvin has the bitter side, I'll give the other side. He said he okay, y'all, but we got to talk about it anyway. I don't care, but we got to talk about it. For the Niners, it's all it is it's Travis Swifty. They've got to do something with Travis Kelce. If they double Travis Kelce, you can't let him do what he did to Baltimore. He can't come out and have 11 catches. You can't let him control that middle of the field. That opens up everything else. I think if they control Kelce and they, pretty much cut that off, it forces Mahomes to have to depend on the other receivers. Not that they're trash. I mean, one of them is, and the other one, Rice, he's okay. Pacheco, he's okay too. But Kelce is really it, and that's what really tore Baltimore up 2 weeks ago. It was just that they could not stop Kelce in the first half. They got those 17 points, and that was it. And so I think that for the Niners, they have to take advantage of their scoring opportunities. Don't come out crazy pass heavy against the Chiefs. They've shown that they can lock up receivers. They play very well against the pass. I think that they just have to handle Kelce. And so who are you picking? Just pick somebody, not Taylor Swift. Pick somebody.
Oh, that's the only one to pick. So I'm gonna pick the Chiefs, and I'll tell you why. Because until and this narrative has been going around a lot. They want to compare him to the Buffalo Bills 4 losses in a row so badly, but they can't. But Kyle Shanahan,
Right? Yeah.
his butthole gets real tight when they get a lead. I don't know what it is, Kyle, but that butthole get real tight when you get a lead.
Double pause.
Atlanta, the last Super Bowl appearance for San Francisco. Come on, Kyle. If you get a lead this time, do the right thing, sir. Run the ball, no passes, none of that stuff. Run the ball.
You never know. These coaches,
clock out.
They too smart for their own good. We'll see.
We got one.
We know.
we got one.
Oh God. Let's keep on going. Hopefully by June, Calvin will be okay. All right, so let's just run through some
during the draft.
Let's run through some Super Bowl prop picks. And so, who's going to score first and how?
Now, this is what I care about. So, I got some prop picks going on. I got the coin flip. I got the who's going to select which way get the ball, whatever. Scoring first, I don't know, but I got scores. I got McCaffrey. I got Rice. I got Pacheco. I got Kelsey. I took Ayuk over Debo. And I actually have Mahomes.
Well, give me team. Give me team. What team do you think is going to score first?
It's all going to be who gets the ball first. I think the first team to get the ball will score. Both of these offenses can drive down, and they both seem to want to have something to prove. So I think the first team will score. It's hard to say who's going to be first. So I do think that first possession is going to result in a touchdown and not just a field goal touchdown.
You're messing up my prop. I need you to take a team.
Oh, who's going to win the toss? Well, let's
know.
Let's go with the Chiefs. Let's go with the Chiefs.
Let's go with the Chiefs. Okay, cool.
Let's go with the 49ers win the toss and defer to the next.
Okay, so you're saying
actually, let me give you another prop. Let's go with this. Let's go with whoever wins the toss takes the ball, so they can drive down and score first.
Sorry, I'll change it. Who wins the toss? So who you have winning the toss?
Oh man, goddamn, Garland. I got the Niners winning the toss, so the Chiefs can get the ball first and drive.
All right, so
I did say defer, but I don't know, man.
Yeah, all right, it's all good, Kyle. I'm gonna take the Niners as well.
I'll tell you another prop I got. They got them in the bets. They got both quarterbacks with 1.5 touchdowns. I took the over on both of those. They're both going to throw at least 2 touchdowns, 1.5 passing touchdowns. They also have them both with 0.5 interceptions. I took the over. I got both of them throwing at least 1 interception. I took the over on both of them.
Okay, so who commits the first turnover? Which team?
Oh, jeez. Give me the Niners. Give me Purdy and the Niners. Yeah, okay. Get them jitters out.
I'm gonna go to opposite of you. I'll take the Chiefs.
Kansas City's been there before, man.
How many times will CBS show Taylor Swift on the screen? Over 10 times or under?
Oh, Taylor.
How many times will CBS show Taylor?
10 is a lot.
These are ones that I made up. So how many? Yeah, over 10 times or under?
I'm gonna go under 10 because 10 is a lot. You got Super Bowl commercials they got to play. 10 is a lot.
Okay.
Can we say 10 or under? We're saying 10 or under, not 10 or over.
Under. Yeah, 10 or under.
10 or under.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say over. They'll figure it out. It might be a blowout and they'll get some extra time. Let's see. What song does Usher open the halftime show with?
Oh my God. OMG. One of the ones that I do not like, but that's the I don't like the song, but it's one of the ones that he comes out to. That's one of the crossover songs that everybody will be like, oh yeah.
Oh, they know that. I'm gonna say yeah.
No, yeah is one of his biggest crossover hits. That's got to be towards the end.
I think he got to come out and slam him. I mean, you know, I think yeah.
That's okay.
We'll see. Who's going to have more catches, Kittle or Kelsey?
Kelsey. Definitely Kelsey.
Kelsey?
Although I think they're going to work Kittle. I think they're going to work Kittle in.
I'm gonna take
Yeah,
Kittle.
I think
And
they're
who's
going
going
to
to
work
win the MVP? Which quarterback is going to win the MVP? Purdy or Mahomes?
it. So I think the Chiefs are going to win, which would make Mahomes the MVP. But I don't think a quarterback's going to win the MVP.
Who you think's going to win?
I think one of the receivers is going to show off. I'll go with Kelsey. I got Kelsey showing off for his little girlfriend.
Oh Lord,
I got Kelsey showing off
I
for his
hope
little
they don't do
girlfriend.
that. All
And
right, so
he
I'll
might
change it to
even
who will win.
propose at the end of the game.
Oh, come on, Calvin, don't do that.
Oh,
Don't do
I
that.
mean, can you imagine next year Patch Mahomes to Travis Swift? Because
Oh
she ain't
God.
changing her last name,
Right.
or he gonna hyphenate his Travis Kelsey Swift. Travis Kelsey my auto Swift.
my auto Smith. Baby gonna be named my auto. All right. Amazon Prime, they won the right to broadcast a 2025 NFL playoff game. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that the NFL will give Amazon Prime a playoff game in 2025, making it the second straight year in the league that it sends a playoff game to a streaming only service. Peacock became the first streaming service to get a playoff game this past playoff season, broadcasting a wild card round matchup between the Dolphins and the Chiefs. NBC reportedly spent $110 million for the game. Also, earlier in the week, we found out that Fox Sports, ESPN, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Max, they announced a joint streaming deal for all of its live sports content. And so this is the future that we see, that more games are heading to streaming. What do you think about this move by the NFL giving Amazon Prime a game?
Yeah, we already know where this is all going. So remember, Paramount got the game. Peacock got some games. So it's all going streaming eventually. So it's just par for the
What can you
course
do?
right now.
Makes me think, man. I read an article this week, and this kind of leads to my next thing before we get into our last piece, our last segment. Last week, the Washington Post, they published an article about an NFL game that has been long forgotten. And the article, excuse me, entitled "The Super Bowl." Excuse me. Before the Super Bowl, the NFL staged the Toilet Bowl. The article gives us a history about the Playoff Bowl, or it was officially known as the Burt Bell Benefit Bowl. It was a postseason game for third place in the NFL, and it was played 10 times between 1960 and 1969 at the Orange Bowl in Miami. Originally known as the Runner-Up Bowl, it was played a week after the NFL championship game, and it was started to raise money for the players' pension fund. And so, based on these future games being sold to streaming platforms, do you think something like this, like a format that they could bring a game like this back and replace the current Pro Bowl? Like, let me give you a scenario. Like the league, they could offer some financial incentives for the players, like the the NBA did for the in-season tournament. In the NBA, each player, the winning team, they got $500,000, $500,000 apiece. And so, there would be a high winner or loser share for this game. And the game could either count for an additional draft pick, or maybe you would take the two worst teams and let them play for the number one pick. Do you think somebody would pay for that?
Fans of the teams might, but I don't know if something like that will work, only because the NFL talks safety. They don't show it, but they talk safety. And if you're the teams playing in it, are you talking about an additional game?
I'm talking about this additional game. Now, this playoff game that they had, it was called the Playoff Bowl. This was a game to decide who came in third place. And so what they would do, they would take the losers of the conference championship games, and they would play in a game a week after the NFL championship game. So like this scenario. So like for this scenario, if you took the Ravens and the Lions, you play that game instead of the Pro Bowl.
So here's my question. I'm glad you used that scenario because as you were saying, I was thinking about that same scenario. Do you think the Ravens, any of the Ravens players, whether the organization wants it or not, do you think any of the Ravens starters or the line starters would actually want to play in a game that doesn't take them to the championship?
I
I
think,
don't think
as
they
a matter of
would.
fact, this was the issue with the toilet bowl. Players were saying it's just a rinky-dink game. It doesn't make a difference. Well, they wasn't getting any money out of it. I think the most that they got out of it might have been $2,000 was the winning share.
Okay.
If you're giving these players $500,000 or upwards, if you get an Amazon Prime or a Paramount Plus that comes in and says, we'll pay you, let's see, NBC paid $110 million for that to broadcast that wild card game. What if Amazon Prime came in and said, all right, we give y'all $300 million for this game. Some of that money goes to the players, at least $500,000 for the winner share, maybe $250 for the loser share. And you get an additional draft pick. That's the caveat to the teams. Like maybe you get an additional first or you get an additional second. The way that these teams value draft picks, maybe. Or maybe it's for the, say you took the two bad teams, like Washington and Chicago, and they're playing for Caleb Williams. And it might stop tanking. I don't know. But what do you think about that?
Yeah, but so, and I hear that, but so you're thinking about it from the organization standpoint. So from the organization
and the player standpoint, the money.
For the players, let's think about it. I don't think Lamar Jackson would play in that game. I don't think Jeff Goff would play in that game. You know what I mean? Like you may be able to get the organizations to play, but you may be looking at backups at that point to play. You know what I mean? I just don't, just in my opinion, you know, football is a little different from basketball, and the in-season tournament is also with basketball. The in-season tournament is also one of the things where you're not worn out. You're talking about teams that have already played their schedule and already played some playoff games. Now you want them to play in another game that doesn't really get them to the pinnacle they want. It gets them some extra money in their pocket, and it gets them the organization of the draft picks. Lamar Jackson's already making $260 million. I don't think he's going to miss that $500,000. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't see it being worth it for someone like him. Tyler Huntley would probably jump at
saying Snoop.
Yeah, he would definitely jump.
What about the worst teams? What if it's Chicago and Washington, and you're playing for the number one pick?
So if you're playing for let's use Chicago as a scenario. So if I'm Justin Fields, I'm like, so you want me to play in a game to get you to pick the guy that's going to replace me?
What if I give you $500,000 for it? I'm not saying they're going to take Caleb Williams, but you're playing to secure the number one pick.
I just don't. I think they look at their, and I think they would be advised a starter. I'm talking about the premier guys. I think they would be advised by their agents to skip this game and move on to the next season.
Yeah, I just think it's an interesting scenario. I didn't know a lot about this playoff bowl. One day I was just on the internet and I saw something about it and I started reading about it and I was like, wow, they actually played this game. Now that game was considered an exhibition game. I think the Baltimore Colts played it in a couple times. The Packers played it in a couple times. Vince Lombardi hated it. He said he called it the shit bowl. He didn't like it at all because, like you said, it didn't count towards anything. It was you came in third place. And then once the leagues merged and you had all these playoff games, it's kind of like, you don't really need it anymore. But, man, I think money talks. For the right amount of money and the right amount of incentives, I wouldn't be surprised in maybe 5 years down the road, you might hear something resurrected like that. Like, hey, if people going to watch the Pro Bowl, a flag football game, and they still get numbers that beats regular season basketball and anything else that's on, if you're bringing it for something that really counts and you're able to get the Players Association to be a part of it and you got incentives there, you never know. But I feel you, though. It's a difficult sell.
Yeah, it's a difficult sell, not to the organization. I think it's an easy sell to the organizations. I think the difficult sell is the stars because you want the stars to play in it. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like
Right. You don't want to tune in and see Huntley. You don't want to tune in
exactly,
and see Snoop.
exactly.
You don't want to tune in and see Justice Hill. You want to tune in and see the
Yeah,
starters.
you want to see, and you want to see them giving the effort, the same effort that they gave the week before in the championship game.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you're just like, okay. So if we don't win, we're in fourth place instead of third place. It still ain't first place. So
Right.
it's just, yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Okay. Just wanted to throw it out there. Let's talk a little college sport. Um, Last week, the National Labor Relations Board regional a National Labor Relations Board regional official ruled on Monday that the Dartmouth basketball players are employees of the school, clearing the way for an election that would create the first labor union for NCAA athletes. All 15 members of the Dartmouth men's basketball team signed a petition in September asking to join a local union of the Service Employees International Union, which already represents some other employees at the Ivy League school. Unionizing would allow the players to negotiate not only salary, but working conditions, including practice hours and travel. The next day, St. John's men's basketball coach Rick Pitino said the sport needs a salary cap and a new hierarchy to thrive. He tweeted Tuesday that the major conferences in college basketball should join forces and create a salary cap up to $2 million. He did not specify if that number would include name, image, and likeness payments or funding directly from schools. While Pitino didn't suggest that the major conferences should split from other schools, he said the cap should be different for those different leagues. And so, do you agree with Pitino, or is it just a matter of time before colleges begin to pay the athletes?
Yeah, so it's one of those things where it's not happening soon enough and it's a long time coming. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, eventually they're just going to have to make this look like what it really is, which is a professional sport. There's going to need to be a union. There's going to need to be a salary cap. There's going to need to be all of that. You know what I mean? Now, the problem I think is, of course, with the NCAA, but it's also with the coaches. You got your guys like Dabo Sweeney and all that are against this, but they can do whatever they want and then make it million. You know what I mean? The coaches do not want to continue to lose control over these athletes, which they are doing. And God damn it, it is a free for all. I'll be first to admit I'm all for the NIL and all, but it's a fucking free for all. I mean, if you look at I believe it's Washington right now, they only have 9 players on their roster because everyone else jumped in the portal. You can, and this is the football team, so you can't do anything with 9 players. You can't even field a team. So it is a damn free fall. So they got to do something to put some regulations on it, whether it's, you know, revamping the portal or salary caps will probably help because you're going to have to play. You can't play. Everybody can't go to one school. So that may help. But yeah, it's eventually, it's already a professional sport. They just don't want to admit it, but it's eventually going to have to take the look of a professional sport.
I agree with you. I mean, I think it's just a matter of time that these schools are going to have to pony up because right now they're really just depending on NIL to keep these students in, to pay the athletes. But eventually, as we see the more the formation of these mega conferences, of these power conferences are going to generate enough money that they're going to be able to pay the athletes. And so I think you're going to see a different level. You're going to see some of the blue chippers. They're going to be going to your Big Ten conferences. They're going to be going to your SECs. They're going to be going to your ACCs. And then those mid to lower level players, they'll be at your other conferences, at your I don't know. I know the Big East doesn't exist anymore, but you know, some of those smaller, lower level conferences. And so I think that's where eventually it's going to head because now that these schools are, you know, begin to say, hey, look, I am an employee of the university. I should be getting health benefits. I should be accruing these different things, retirement. They're going to have to come up with a structure to take all of that responsibility and costs off of them. You know, that's what universities did. That's why they fighting unions, getting rid of people. You got contractual jobs and stuff like that. A lot of your professors, unless they're tenured, they're contractual, they're adjuncts. Why? Because you don't want to pay health benefits. You don't want to pay into all of those things. And so if you had athletes that are doing that, and they're getting those type of benefits, and they're on the bill of the university is going to be costly, and so they had to come up with some alternatives.
Yeah,
Uh,
you
mhm,
know, another thing with that, there's eventually just going to be a couple conferences, a couple of these major conferences, and we all thought that Maryland was wilding, or they were just running from Duke and UNC when they left the
right.
ACC and went to the Big Ten. That actually looks like a pretty shrewd move right now.
Mhm.
They actually got some clout with the basketball team, a little more clout than they would have gotten.
They're having a terrible year
Um,
this year, though.
yeah, this year isn't good. Same thing with the women. The women haven't
Yeah,
really
they're
bounced
having a
back.
terrible year
I
this
mean, the women did have South Carolina, Iowa, a couple of these
year.
big time schools on
But
their schedule.
financially, it paid off for them.
Paid off for them, and they, just if you look record wise, they actually have done very well in the conferences. But yeah, we thought they were just wilding, or they were scared of Duke and North Carolina. But yeah, not a bad move. Not a bad move at
No,
all.
not a bad move. And now that conference, but they're never going to, at least football wise. Basketball, they stand a little bit of chance, but football, they're never going to be able to compete with the top
But
teams.
they actually did make a bowl last year when I didn't think they were going to do it. They had
Calvin,
a chance to beat Michigan. They had
Calvin,
a chance to beat Michigan.
Calvin. They
Listen, man.
made with the Tax Slayer Bowl. What bowl did they make? They didn't make the BCS, right?
They're not going to make the BCS.
Okay, thank you. I
BCS.
was like, they made a bowl.
Yeah, they made a bowl. For Maryland, that's a
They
successful
played.
season.
They played a team that blew the game to Alabama, that lost to a team that wasn't ranked.
That's right. They dominated their bowl game at
Yeah,
that.
they did against
Listen.
Auburn, a horrible team.
Listen, for Maryland, that's a successful season.
Ooh,
I
success
sound
is
like
low
I've been.
in
I
College
sound like
Park.
I've been drinking successful.
Success with
Successful
successful.
season.
Yeah, well, anyway, and so we'll see what happens. All right, so now we're coming to the end of the program and our favorite segment. Come on, you. And so I start off. I think you started off last week with the Kelsey, and so I'll start off this week. Come on, yo. Black people that want to be recognized by the mainstream. If you didn't see the Grammys on Sunday, our boy Jay-Z was on there, and Jay-Z had just won. It's the Rock in here. Tell Just to holler at me, man. And so Jay-Z or Sean Carter, he had won the Andre Young Global Impact Award. Andre Young is Dr. Dre, y'all, the Chronic 2001, which I'm still trying to figure out how Dr. Dre giving out awards when he's going around slapping black women and beating them up. But hey, I don't know how you get a Global Impact Award on that, but he does. And so nonetheless, let's keep going.
Is this D Barnes on? Where's D Barnes?
Yeah. Because I'm on Pumping Up, D Barnes. Yeah. Anyway. And so Jay, he's talking about his wife and how his wife Beyonce, has been snubbed, which is true, by the Grammy Academy, that she has never won Album of the Year, despite winning the most individual Grammys in the history of the Grammy Awards. And it got me thinking of, why are we always looking for acceptance from the mainstream? Beyonce, everybody knows there's no artist out here that compares to Beyonce. None. Sorry, Taylor Swift. I don't care how many Swifties you got out there. You can't hold a candle to Beyonce. And even for Jay, I don't care how many people they come up. Nobody can, compete with Jay on a global level. But we're always looking for this acceptance and approval by the mainstream. I mean, I guess that's why we had the BET Awards, but then again, BET is owned by the mainstream as well, Viacom, and so we're still,
Bob Johnson sold out.
He sold out. I mean, we don't get upset if Beyonce doesn't win Artist of the Year for the BET Awards, But we definitely get upset when we don't get that mainstream acceptance. And so I think we just got to stop looking for it. I mean, we already know Beyonce's dope. We already know what she is. We know her value. This woman sold out stadiums, not arenas. She sold out stadiums. My daughter went to see her down in Lanham, and it rained. Did people go home? It was a lightning storm. No, they waited 2 hours for that lightning to clear the area, and they stayed to see Beyonce. Beyonce, she's already heads and shoulders above everyone else. And so we don't need the mainstream acceptance. Let's just rock with who we are. We already know who's rolling with us. And we don't have to keep on saying, hey, y'all gotta recognize us. Hey, y'all gotta recognize us. I don't care if they never broadcast another rap award on the show. I already know that my music's dope. I already connected to the culture. I already appreciate it and promote it. I don't need some people in the boardroom to tell me what's hot and what's not. And so let's stop looking. Come on, yo. Let's stop looking for this mainstream love when we don't need it. They never gave it to us. It never was ours to get. So let's just keep on moving.
Yeah, we got the BET Awards, we got the Soul Train Awards, we got the
Yeah.
NAACP
We got the
Image Awards,
NAACPs.
we got BET Honors, we got
Right.
BET Hip Hop Awards. I'm sure we got some Shade Room Awards. We probably got some TikTok Awards.
Right.
I mean, come on, black people. Well,
We
first
got
of all,
Steve
who's
Harvey
still
got an
watching the-
award. The hoodies. We got the
who's still-
hoodies.
Who's still watching the Grammys anyway? Like,
lot of
y'all
people
still
are.
watch the Grammys?
A lot of
Like,
people
I'm
are.
shocked. I thought we shut them down and went on to the American Music Awards. Like, we knew the Grammys wasn't
Right.
showing us any love years and years ago. This ain't nothing new.
But we're
on.
still begging at the Grammy door of acceptance. And I mean, we know she got robbed the other year that she was in it, and they gave it to you. I can't even tell you who won.
And another thing, Jay-Z, when Kanye did it, y'all shut him down. But it's
Right.
okay for you to go up and do it in front of your baby.
Yup.
I start laughing when I tell the truth. It's The Rock.
Yup.
Hey man, real quick. I'm gonna make this one real quick. So come on, yo. Our fans, y'all are wrong for trying to shut down Cheryl Swoops. Come on, yo. But my come on, yo, is for Cheryl Swoops. All right, so Cheryl Swoops. And if you know who Cheryl Swoops is, legendary basketball player, USA basketball player, gold medalist, multiple time gold medalist, multiple time WNBA championship winner. Yeah,
Houston
just
Comets.
multiple time. Yeah, she just one of the greatest living basketball players ever. She even had her
First
own
woman
shoe
to have a
at one
signature
time.
shoe.
She had her own shoe. She was supposed to be the female Michael Jordan at one time, which she was. I shouldn't say supposed to be, which she was. But she went on the podcast and they were asking her about Caitlin Clark. And one of the things that she said, now she was giving Caitlin Clark props, and
Yes, she was.
And on the other end of that, she pretty much said some of the same things about Angel Reese, which was she won't be able to go into the WNBA and dominate the way she's dominating now, not as a rookie. She's basically saying you got to pay your dues. But the one thing that she said about Caitlin Clark was Caitlin Clark is definitely going to take the scoring title from Kelsey Plum, and she's going to do it. I think it's next week sometime they're talking about. But she said the thing about Caitlin Clark is that she has a COVID year, which gave her an extra fifth year to get the scoring title. So she's basically saying, yeah, you got a whole extra year to do it. The problem was her fifth year, her COVID year, would be next year. So she's still within her first 4 years. The reason why that's significant is because you open the door for these Iowa fans to come and attack you and get you. Immediately, Iowa put up the stats, and they literally said within 4 years. She also said that Caitlin Clark takes at least 40 shots a game, which is where they prompted her to say she won't be taking that many shots in the WNBA as a rookie. They put up Caitlin Clark averages 19.5 shots a game. I want to question that. If you've ever watched an Iowa game, it looks like she's taking much more than 20 shots a game. But whatever the case, Garland and I have done it. Everybody that's had some sort of platform, whether it's for sports, and sports is one of the most critical, whether it's for sports, for politics, for anything, you want to make sure that you line up your facts, because as soon as you say something incorrect, you open the door for people to come get you. And if you're on a platform that's a national platform like that, and you're talking about someone's beloved player, they're going to get you. These Iowa fans are out here wearing "Don't Be Cheryl" shirts. I mean, Cheryl got her own crew behind it, saying like, "Oh, are y'all crazy? Cheryl Swoops is the greatest," but it's Cheryl Swoops' fault. Like, come on, Cheryl, come on, yo, get that fact straight. That fifth year thing was the one that really made me cringe, because I'm like, oh, she ain't even in the fifth year. If she take the fifth year, she's just going to add on top of that. And she admitted she was wrong. She was like, oh, I'm wrong. But they don't want to hear that, because you came loaded and they feel like you were just picking on their girl. So come on, yo. Come on, Cheryl. Come on, everybody with some sort of platform. Even when you go on things like social media, how many times have people reposted or shared something that's completely false? You don't do your own research,
The
and that's
Zay
the biggest
Flowers
thing.
story.
Yeah, just do your own. Just do your own research. Also, a lot of this is just a simple Google search. And again, we're all guilty of it. I've done it before, but a lot of it's simple Google search.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't find it, just don't post it. Don't say it. Move on. Make some other points.
Exactly.
So it happens. But come on, Cheryl. Come on, yo. Come on, everybody with a platform.
Yeah,
Stop
I agree
doing
with
that.
you.
Make sure your shit is tight.
Because sometimes I'd be like, what is, like, for instance, this Zay Flowers story. It was a lot of, I was getting, oh, yeah, you heard about your boy. I'm like, okay, I went to the noted sources of sports reporting. Nothing reported on this alleged thing about Zay Flowers. Then I saw something on the Baltimore Banner where they said they wasn't even investigating Zay Flowers. It was someone in the house next door to where Zay Flowers lived, but somehow Zay Flowers' name is tied into it, and it's just not true. But people are reporting it or circulating it like it's true, and there's been, trust me, if something like that happened, it would have been front page ESPN Sports Center, the opening story of that night's broadcast. But a lot of times I guess that's the dangers of the internet. You put something out there, it sounds kind of true. It's like the Willie Lynch story, the Willie Lynch letter. It sounds good, it sounds true, but when you do a little bit more research into it, you find out like, this is not true.
Yeah, and you're right. So it's this thing that everybody wants to also be first.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be first. So, but you're right, especially when it comes to sports. If you can't cut on or Google ESPN and see it,
Right.
and it may not be true.
Not be true.
And when it comes to entertainment news, there was a time when TMZ was like the National Enquirer, where you thought they were making up stories. But now TMZ is a reputable source. If you don't see it on TMZ, it probably ain't happened, because they are usually first to the stories. So yeah, just do as much research as you can. Be careful, and listen, it's not a knock on anybody, because we're all guilty of it. Like, we're all guilty of doing it, having done it. It won't stop people from doing it. I'm sure I'll do it again. It happens, but try your best to research, just so you're not caught out there and lose credibility. People that follow you will be okay with it, but people that you're trying to bring in, they're going to be like, I don't know what they're talking about now.
Definitely.
So come on, yo. Just tighten up. Get it tight. That's all. And another thing.
Oh, God.
If Damar Hamlin would have gotten it, they should have just named the award the Damar Hamlin Award, because he died, yo. Oh, and you asked who got snubbed. Steelers fans think TJ Watt got snubbed. And
forgot about him.
I don't care. In the words of your coach, Mike Tomlin, we do not care. I ain't even want Myles Garrett to win it. That's how I feel about the AFC North.
Myles Garrett,
if my guys ain't winning it,
but no, the Damar Hamlin didn't die enough.
So he had to stay dead. But had he stayed dead,
and then come back a day after that,
he would have been disqualified had he stayed dead.
He needed to do a Jesus. He needed to come back 3 days later.
Y'all don't believe in Easter, y'all don't believe in Easter.
He came back and still ain't do nothing.
You know what? Let me play this outro. We want to thank y'all for joining us. We are live on Facebook right now, and if you listen to all the podcast platforms, we're also live on YouTube, and you'll be able to see our face. Let me play this outro because Garland just be tripping. Like Damar Hamlin died on the field, y'all.
You have been listening to Fanboys. And all things black with Garland and Calvin
he died enough for. I'm sure he died enough for Damar Hamlin. Like nigga, I was dead. Like, how do I not win this shit? Anyway, man, Lady Garland. Hey, good luck, Usher. Good luck, Usher. Let's go, Usher.